Hi, welcome to this video to clarify and demo assignment number 5. Before you watch this video, you should watch a previous video which is called 145 Anywhere on the Neck. Watch that one first. That's the one that goes over the neighborhood voicings, all in the same string set in one neighborhood, covering about 4 frets. Okay, now we're going to expand our approach to 145 because we want to get out of the neighborhood. It's sort of like a good analogy of the neighborhood. It's like instead of just staying on the same block, we're going to actually go up across the street and go up a few blocks to a new neighborhood, so to speak. And the way we're going to do that is item number 1, you can see on the sheet here, is we're going to go, instead of going to our 4 on the same string set, here's our 1, we're going to go to the next string set, which, as you know, because of the rule of the kink, requires that I move this note up a half step, and that's this voicing root position chord. If I didn't do that, it would become a minor chord here, so I have to move that up to make it a major, and that's really my same voicing, just moved to the next string set. That's my 4. And then when we're on the 4 chord, we know we're always only a whole step below the root, below the 5 chord rather. So you just move that up a whole step and you've got your 5 chord. Okay, that's our new way of doing 145. 1, 4, 5, and then it turns out that the 1 chord is available to us in a new neighborhood by just going to this shape. And that shape is sort of the equivalent of this shape's 4 chord. Okay. So if you've been practicing your 1-4-5s on every string set, you'll know that if you're on that chord, that's the one, there's your 4, and there's your 5. But when you're doing this 1-4-5 here, when you go to that companion shape here, you get to the 1 that you started on. So let's go over that again. 1, 4, 5, and then 1, but an octave higher in a new neighborhood. And what's good about this is it starts allowing you to connect up and down the neck. So eventually you'll be able to go all the way up and down the neck playing 1-4-5. 1, 4, 5. 1, 4, 5. 1, 4, 5, etc. all the way up and down the neck. But for now we're just doing this. Same shape, 5, neighborhood shape for the 1. So practice that. Okay, that's example 1. You should be able to do that from any chord shape. So that was my 1 there. If my 1 was here, take that same shape, move it up, rule of the kink. That's my 4, same shape, 2 frets higher as the 5, and then go to the neighborhood shape for that, which is going to be this one. There's 1-4-5 from starting from a different shape. Okay, that's example 1. Now let's move to example 2. Example 2 is going to use the same principle, but to get flat 1-4 flat 7 instead of 1-4-5. So here's how we do it. We use stuff we already know. We already know how to do a 1. We already know how to go to the 4 on the next string set, and we know how to get to 5 and then 1, right? Well, think for a minute about, remember the thing about 1 when you need to go to flat 7? What's the easiest way to get to flat 7 from 1? That's right, to go down 2 frets. Okay, so there's our flat 7. So the way you find your flat 7 is just think of where the 1 is and go down a whole step. So here's our 1, our 4, our flat 7, and up a whole step to our 1. Do it in reverse. 1, flat 7, 4, 1. And of course, like, I'm kind of rushing through this, but you should be playing all of these, you know, with a pattern. And go in both directions. 1, flat 7, 4, and back to 1. Okay, that's item 2. Now you can start from any shape. Like I said, that was this shape. You could start from this shape. You could start from this shape and be able to figure them out. The third one is to do the same thing with the Lydian progression, which is 1-2-5. All major chords. So 1. How do we find the 2 major? Well, let's go up a whole step from 1. Here's your 2 major. Go up to the 5, which you now know where it is, and then you can go up to your 1. And you can do it in reverse. Okay, once you're good at those, then you can start, messing around with them and doing 1 on the way up and 1 on the way down, like number 4 there, ascending, doing 1, 2, 4. And on the descending, it's going to do 1, 5, flat 7. So let's see what that's 1, 2, 4, and then way up to 1. Then 5 on the way down, flat 7, and then maybe back to 1. So you're starting to get more chord vocabulary happening that way. Okay, now if you've done some of that work and you've started from different chord shapes to get 1, 4, 5 and 1, 4, flat 7 and so on, you'll be starting to feel like you can really find your way around a little bit more. Now you're ready to do some of this creative work. First thing is to revise your 1, 4, 5 as needed if there were any comments on that in the class. And then you're going to try some different experiments here. Now I'm not going to demonstrate every single one because it will take too long, but I'll just quickly survey them. Okay, so the first thing is you adjust or transform your progression to make it be only 1, 4 and flat 7 instead of 1, 4 and 5. And the way you're going to do that is you're going to replace all instances of the 5 chord with flat 7 chord. So say your progression was this, 1, that was your progression. So 1, 1, 4, 5. Well, now it would become 1, 4, and then flat 7 instead of 5. Back to 1. So anytime that there's a 5 chord, you would replace it with a flat 7. So you do that, you play it, and you just notice what it sounds like. Then you can write it down with just numbers. Then you as you listen to it, now that you've done that, now you can change it again. Now you can put some of those 5 chords back in, maybe just keep some of the flat 7s, just use your own judgment. It's what you like the sound of. Okay, then the next experiment is work notation first. So this is where you go back to your original 1, 4, 5 progression, and now you go through and you make substitutions, but now you're not playing on the guitar yet, you're just doing it on a piece of paper. So you might say, I'm going to make all my 4 chords into flat 7 chords. And you just write it down like that. So you just rewrite it. And then you maybe try something else. I'm going to make all my 5 chords 4 chords, or make all my 1 chords flat 7. The only rule is that you have to, when you make a substitution, you have to change them all. So here's an example progression from assignment 4, where again you had to use chords of 3 different durations. Chords that lasted 1 measure, chords that lasted 2 measures, and chords that lasted 3 measures in this case. So for example, say you were going to do the thing of making all your, make all your 4 chords into flat 7 chords, for example. Well, then you would go through and you'd write it out, and you'd change that chord into a flat 7. You would actually put in, that would be a flat 7, and then this would become a flat 7, and so on. That's the way you would write it all out. And then when you're done writing it out, then you would play it and see what if you like it or not. See what it might trigger some interesting ideas for you. So you do all that. You do all these experiments. And then when you've done all these experiments, you've been getting better at these shapes and everything. Now you do the same thing with Lydian. And then finally, using all these experiments, you now zero in on a new progression that's expanded version of your 1, 4, 5. It's a transformed version of your 1, 4, 5. It might not sound like 1, 4, 5 at all anymore. It might be used a lot of flat 7s or 2 majors or whatever. It's up to you. You can either constrain it and make yourself only use 3 different major chords, like 1, 2, 5, or 1, 4, flat 7, or whatever, or you can let yourself have the freedom of using any of these 5 major chords, 1, 2, 4, 5, or flat 7, in any combination. For example, if we went back to this one, and after doing a lot of experimentation, say you liked that, but then you decided to put some of your 4 chords back in, because now you have the freedom to mix and match, just for the sake of quickness, just say that's what you ended up with. Well, as a result of going through all those experiments, you will have gotten a lot more fluent around on the neck, and you may have come up with a unique progression that that you might not have come up with as easily, or you might not have come up with that if you hadn't gone through these experiments. And so once you come up with a progression that kind of is exciting to you, or is new and different, and is interesting to you, then at that point you do the final thing, which is to write a melody to it. Pick your favorite one, write a melody, and then that's your new song material for the week. Okay, hopefully that's helpful to you. Okay, I'll look forward to hearing what you guys come up with.